tweeting it.
What is happening, everybody? We're live here, myself and Lofty. We weren't sure if we were going to do this show today because we didn't know what kind of volume of bets were going to be on the board. So we had like a tentatively scheduled show for 3 p.m. Eastern time. And what ends up happening, like 10 minutes ago, all of a sudden a bunch of bets pop up on the board. We're like, well, we have to do a show to talk to you guys about some of the bets, bring you guys some value. Like we've already seen right here in chat, Kiefer Easterland, who, by the way, hilarious name, Kiefer Easterland. Kiefer says he made $200 with a free bet after watching this show. He says, love it. Thanks. The unders are a sweat. Yeah. So the one thing about the unders, at least you start by winning all of them at the top of the game. With overs, you're losing at the start. Unders, you're always winning until they lose, where it's, the opposite with the overs. But Kiefer, happy that we were able to help you out. For everybody else, here's the easiest way you could help us out. Simply like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is new content that we're trying out. And the easiest way to signal to YouTube that this is content that you like and enjoy is by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Wolfie, what's happening?
What's good, brother? I didn't know you were going to host it. I love it.
Oh, so I just assumed when you said that you were going to be pulling up because Wolfie we'll walk you guys through this. Wolfie built out a new portfolio with a new book that we have that is now on OddsShopper. So I just kind of assumed that when you said you wanted to host it, that we were going to flip.
Works great for me. Yeah. Happy to have you guys with us. It's the last day before the break. And then, look, we'll have a few days off, go do some stuff. I usually go snowboarding a couple times during the break. It's like the only time I can do it anymore. And I'm going to the Eagles parade tomorrow. So kind of a perfect time. Perfect time for all of this to happen. But then we'll be back with more bets. You know as well as I do. After that one game NBA slate following the break, right? It's one game. Mm-hmm. You're going to just have some really big slates following that. And we'll have hockey coming back around the same time. So it's going to be huge for us. But a lot of bets up there now. 3 things that I think are going to be pretty awesome to talk about today with you guys. And I think you'll agree. And by the way, shout out to Kiefer, the 200 with the free bet after watching this show. Awesome. Yes, unders are a sweat. I know you mentioned it, but they are. You start to get used to them. And yeah, Patrick, if we can build some parlays, we'll do it. There you go. Am I pronouncing this right? Erkheim? I just signed up. Let's go, brother. Let's go. Yeah. So free week always. Right. But mind you, we are heading into the All-Star break. So just keep that in mind. Bookmark the link, enter directly, however you want to do it. Doesn't matter to me. But 3 things we're going to talk about. 1, we got a new social sports book. I deposited on there today. Pretty sweet too, because unlike some of these other social sports books, your maximum deposit first time is 500 instead of 100, which is really nice. Okay. So, I built out a portfolio for that. Interesting thing here. We know, Greg, using the results tool on PortfolioEV, that DraftKings has been pretty soft in a lot of different NBA markets and NHL markets. They're matching the DraftKings odds, right?
Exactly. From what we can see, like it's not even like, oh, this line's off by like a penny or something like that. No. They have, for whatever reason, they've got the exact same lines on Onyx that they have on DraftKings.
The only time I'm noticing them differ is if DraftKings moves and Onyx is slower to move. And then they match it again, right? That's it. I did ask the devs too, if they have a way that I can allow both to pop up on the screen. So like say Lauri Markkanen right there with that under 3-pointers, right? If I can have, because I have an Onyx NBA and a DraftKings NBA, if I can have both of them pop up so I can just click bet, right? Or I can just mass enter on DraftKings, use the mass entry tool, and then bet them individually over on Onyx. That would be super helpful because what I want to do is I want to bet them on both books, Greg.
For sure.
Which
makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. We were talking about that earlier in the week as well. Is one of the ways to combat limits is with volume betting. But that also can entail betting the same line multiple times at multiple different books. So DraftKings now, we basically have a way to double bet everything there. And then sometimes you see also like BetMGM might have a line that's the same as what's on DraftKings, or same with like Hard Rock is a book I have access to that you don't. Hard Rock very frequently has the exact same odds as BetMGM. So yeah, it's really good that we're able to add another book in here. We're also looking to add more, and also kind of interesting because you and I were talking right before we started about the Utah Jazz, and now we've got Jazz players who are at the top of the board here. So the Jazz just put out a kind of unexpected injury report where they've ruled out some guys who I was expecting to not play, but then somebody like Lauri Markkanen, who hasn't played a back-to-back. Boy, how long has it been since Lauri Markkanen played a back-to-back? I think it's been since the first month of the season. He was on the injury report and they took him off.
Well, maybe they're saying, hey, you're going to have 6 days, pal.
True.
You know, maybe. So he's off the injury report, huh?
The last time, it looks like, is this correct? Yeah. The last time Lauri Markkanen played in a back-to-back was November 16th and November 17th.
Wow.
He has rested in every single back-to-back since then. But
so what does that tell you? What does that tell you about Utah as a whole right now?
Hard. I think probably you're onto something with them being nearing up against the All-Star. But with that said, they just ruled out Jordan Clarkson. He's somebody who has played in some back-to-backs this year. So maybe maybe this was an administrative error and they're going to rule out Markkanen later. But I thought there was no chance Markkanen or Walker Kessler Walker Kessler may be a chance just because he's a younger player. But some of these older guys, not that Markkanen's old, have sat in every single back-to-back since the first few weeks of the season. Now it looks like he might be playing.
You know, these spots are very interesting to me because, and this is the second thing I wanted to get into. Then there's a third. You're going to like this third. So are you guys. Do you think it's possible that like these guys might play and just get limited minutes? Because if that's the case, and look, I'm not saying that's going to happen, right? But these lines right now are all suggesting that they play their full allotment of minutes. So even if they do, and it's a plus EV bet on the screen, assuming everybody plays, then we're still getting really good value. But is it also possible that some of these guys play and just don't play the same amount of minutes they typically would?
It's possible. It's possible. It's pretty unprecedented considering, like I said, these guys have been sitting in back-to-backs. The spread, it's 9.5 points in favor of the Clippers. So fairly wide line, especially when you consider that Utah is the home team here. It's definitely within the realm of possibilities that we get a Markkanen start and he's playing, let's see how many minutes we're getting out of Markkanen this year. Markkanen playing 32 minutes per game. Yeah, maybe we get like 26, 28 minutes out of Markkanen, and then the unders end up looking stronger. Could you actually sort Lofty by the Utah Jazz just so we could only look at the Jazz bets at the top?
Sure can. And then we'll get into some bets. The other thing, while we do this, that I wanted to tell you guys about is when I was doing my solo stream yesterday, Greg, I went in and I just messed around a little bit with FanDuel and my portfolios. And there's a real hack, man. I figured out that all of the draft FanDuel 3-point bets, the reason it's so negative on the year is because of the short odds, like the minus 140s and minus 150s and minus 130s. If you bring it to even money or longer odds, it's a 4% EV bet on FanDuel this season. Isn't that crazy? With a minimum OS rating of 1, over 600 bets. So that's not nothing at all. I thought that was really something. Like there are some hacks here when you're building out portfolios and tweaking them and checking results. Like you don't need to take them at face value. The fact that you can actually manipulate that to see, oh, wait a second, because shots on goal are the same way. Mm-hmm. The longer the odds on these 3-pointers, right? The lower the X win, the far more profitable it's been on the entire season with a pretty good sample of bets.
Yeah, makes sense. And then what was the number you found the cutoff to be? Because there was also a 3-point bet that you and I placed yesterday that ended up winning, even though the game went to overtime. But we had Pascal Siakam under 1.5 threes. We got a good amount of closing line value on it. And
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Yeah. All right. You remember what we got it at?
Minus 115.
Yep. The cutoff was minus 120.
Okay.
Yep. At minus 120, it was 0.6% positive ROI. If you move it to even minus 125, minus 130, dipped pretty heavy into the negatives. Pretty wild.
It's good to know.
Yeah, I love this shit, man.
Yeah, like you said, that's been this. Not that we don't have NHL bets to look at today because there are no NHL games. We're not going to have those for another week and a half or something. But that's been my most profitable market to bet on for the end of 2024 and the start of 2025. So that's definitely something that we'll be looking at a little bit more as well. Actually, could you pull up some of the EV results so we could actually show people what that data looks like?
Yeah. All right. Let's
As
do
far
it.
as a bet right now, also, it looks like some of the market and unders. Did the OS? It looks like the OS rating and the EV's been going down without the
Yep.
line moving, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Let me refresh this. This one really stands out. But
Yeah. Walker Kessler under 11.5 points. And even though Jordan Clarkson has been ruled out and Colin Sexton also he's out for today, at least in the front court, like I don't think that that would have any kind of real massive impact on Walker Kessler, which I'm sure if we looked at some of the graphs of some of the line movement there, he wouldn't be as impacted by somebody like Jordan Clarkson being out as much as the other guys there. So it makes sense that he would also have the highest OS rating.
yeah, I just got like, okay, there we go. Now we're back. That was weird. It just glitched out on me. All right, yeah, let's go into that. Before we do, let's just see what bets we've got on the board, Greg, because these disappear quick. Guys, for any of you that are in non-legal betting states, pay very close attention to this. See this? See this right here? This Onyx odds. We just added a new social sports book to PortfolioEV. So KBG Poker in chat that said, I'm in Missouri. It's 25-minute drive to the Kansas border to get bets in. And I made one. This is awesome, by the way. Made one trip a day to get bets in since getting this tool last Friday. 650 bets in, up $837. That is awesome, dude. Get Onyx too. And by the way, there's no incentive for us. Like there's no promo code or anything. I'm just telling you because it's another book and it has the same odds as DK. Grab that. You can bet them from home as well. You could probably add another, no joke, on a big slate. You could probably add another 70 bets to your portfolio every single day if you're in non-legal states for sure.
Yes, and most importantly, not that I like 25 minutes, not that it's the longest drive in the world, but it's great. We also have some of these options that you don't have to drive 25 minutes for. So it's not like you're sitting on your couch and you go, you leave, you cross the border, you come back home and be like, shit, more bets popped up. You got to leave. But now with something like some more of these social sports books, as we load more of them into our tools here, then you won't have to make that trip.
Yep. All right. So let's see. The James Harden one, we're not going assists here. We already know that, right?
Yeah.
Like this is just, we're not doing that. Kyrie Irving. Now look, Onyx and DraftKings. So if you're on DK, and we're going to build a parlay out in just a moment because we have a profit boost there today. It's the Shaq boost, right? So all NBA games, you're issued one single-use profit boost token on a 3-leg parlay. Doesn't have points parlay. Doesn't have to be same game. So if we can find 3 points props on DraftKings, which we already have right here, I thought there was one more. Okay, we need one more to pop up on DK because we have 2 right here. Then we can build one out. Yep. All right.
How does that? I'm trying to find it. So player points profit boost. It's the Shaq points all parlay. Get a prop boost, NBA player points or parlay X. Profit boost 20%, max bet $10, and then total odds of -200. I assume that's the same for you.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep. So let's get rid of this James Harden one. We'll get rid of the assists on FanDuel. I tried to do everything to see if I could turn them positive. Absolutely nothing works. Calvin mentioned yesterday too that maybe they're just the sharpest in that market. But on DraftKings right now, we actually have a few really good bets, Greg. Kyrie Irving points prop right here, under 28.5 at -110. Grab that on Onyx and DK. I've been taking them on both. You look at some of the like draft FanDuel's at 27.5, -120, -127 at 27.5 on Penny. Any other things you want to look at here that stand out? The Misi one as well, points prop on FanDuel. They'll allow us to get bigger bet sizes down.
The one thing I want to check is just some of these, just to confirm that the odds are all the same. Just drop down some of the bets that have the best line on Onyx and just see if it's the exact same line on DK as well.
Yep. Tyler Hero rebounds under 5.5.
Cool.
CJ McCollum. Yep. Under 4.5 assists for those of you guys who are listening and not watching. That's an OS rating of 2. So decent enough bet there. Under 4.5 assists for McCollum. Anthony Edwards rebounds under 6.5. Yep. And Kyrie Irving under rebounds. Yep. Are there any other spots where you have concerns that guys don't play? I know Golden State could rest their veterans. Any other spots that we should be paying close attention to here?
Just like a general commentary on the Golden State Warriors thing, because I think it's hilarious, is, Kerr was complaining about some of the scheduling and the back-to-backs and all of that and whatnot. With that said, yesterday they played in Dallas yesterday. Today they played in Houston. They're not making the longest trek across the country. I know Texas is a big state, but they're still playing in state. So that's something that, even though it's the tail end of a back-to-back on the road, it makes me think that the Warriors vets are a little bit more likely to play than they normally would be in this situation. They're also not listed on the injury report today. When also you combine the fact with how high leverage all of these games are for the Warriors at this point in the season, and then also you get the layoff after the All-Star break. So I actually feel relatively decent that Curry, Butler, and Draymond all end up playing.
Okay. That's good to know. Isaiah Hartenstein too on FanDuel. Here you go. Under 10.5 boards. This is best on BetMGM, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just put all portfolios up here, it's probably going to be one of the top bets. Yeah, look, 10 OS rating on Isaiah Hartenstein, minus 135 true odds. You're getting this at minus 120 here against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Really good parlay opportunities right now on BetMGM. I know this is something you've done a lot, but I mean, my guess is if we went and built a parlay out, let's see, can we do it? No, because same game. We probably still could with the Houston spot.
Yeah, we would need, let's see, that Dylan Brooks line isn't bad.
You want me
The
to
Klay
scroll down?
Thompson line is solid as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
the Jalen Williams. Yeah. So this is pretty doable. And then something else as well that we've brought up on, the first 2 shows that we've done. There's also a chance that we see Minnesota rest guys today. Minnesota also has they downgraded a bunch of guys at the exact same time, which is usually a red flag to me. So they downgraded Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, both at the exact same time. I think there's a pretty good chance that they end up sitting. If that's the case, then we got a game that could have a spread of like 16 points. And we've seen some of these situations this week. You load up on unders from those games, maybe you correlate them together in the same game parlay, the game blows out, all the bets end up winning.
So even if you're getting correlated odds, how willing are you to go same game parlay style if you feel like we're getting legitimate value on that blowout potential with starters not in?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it, especially with Hartenstein, who's somebody who OKC has been pretty quick to pull off the court in some of those blowout situations. His under is already projecting well for us on multiple sites. We've also got the Aaron Wiggins. Oh, that's a DraftKings line. But in general, to answer your question, yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
Take a look at Onyx here for a second for the social sportsbook users out there. This is really nice to see that we're immediately getting on a 5-game slate, no less, some good spots. I bet a few overs there today as well. I actually have a decent amount of overs in the portfolio. If we were to go and build a parlay out here,
let's do it.
And as I mentioned, we have some promos that we'll hit on, guys, and that'll be exciting because yes, the bet size is limited, but I think there's a very good chance that we're going to be able to get some great value on these for sure, especially considering we don't have to do same game parlay on DraftKings, which is huge. Today, the no sweat same game parlay on FanDuel. Anything else going on FanDuel? It's funny. Greg, BetMGM will give you like profit boost tokens, and then you click it, and it's all pre-made same game. It's all pre-made parlays.
So the other thing too is, so there's this weird thing where if I go to the BetMGM menu, they have these lists of like the parlay tokens, but they don't actually give them to me. Like I can't actually claim them. They don't let me use them.
Yeah, it's sad. It's just the way these books operate, man. Criminal. All right, I'm on Onyx. Let's try an Onyx parlay.
All right. And what do they give you any kind of boosts or anything like that? Because I haven't signed up at Onyx yet. I'm going to, but haven't yet.
Let's see. And when you do, by the way, I tweeted it today.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have an app, like a downloadable app in the App Store, the Google Play Store, but there's a little trick that I've used to use for other sites. If you are on your iPhone, or I don't know how you do it on another phone, but like an Android, but if you're on your iPhone, Greg, and you just hit that up button on the browser, you can save it to your home screen, and it actually turns it into an app. So it functions 100% as an app, totally mimics an app, like doesn't even go into the browser or anything. So it's pretty neat in case anybody wanted to do that. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like there's any boost available here or any promo, but you can parlay there. So let's try.
Okay. And then on top of that as well is when you're building out parlays, does it all have to be, well, it looks like we have to for the two anyway, but do they have to be individual games? Can we not combine players in the same game?
You can have same game parlays, and they have same game parlay X's over there on Onyx.
All right. Let's start with just a regular parlay. And by the way, also, anything we build out for Onyx, it applies to DraftKings as well. Because like we're saying before, same odds.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, interesting. Are we pulling these odds? Anyway, let's do it. Because right there, Onyx is showing different than DraftKings. Maybe someone in chat can plug these in as we go. Craig?
I'll do it.
Okay, cool. So Nasreed under 7.5 rebounds. By the way, I bet this on DraftKings earlier, or FanDuel earlier today, and FanDuel moved it to 6.5 rebounds. Slight plus money, but it was only plus 104 on FanDuel. So that's very interesting that you're still getting that here. Let's see here. Let me see what it's at now.
So Nasreed moved. He's minus 135 on DraftKings. So the line's moved on DraftKings.
Did it move on Onyx yet?
No.
See, they're slow to move on these. They're slow to move off of these DK lines, and eventually it will. So if we plugged in Nasreed under 7.5, well, I guess that wouldn't work, right? Because you're trying to plug him in on both.
But it's good to know because we're trying to figure out why it was different. And that's why the line's moved on.
Yep.
DraftKings hasn't moved. Here's something else also. If you guys are betting on Onyx right now, probably take that Nasreed line because it's probably going to move in the next couple of minutes.
No question. Also, if you're double betting like you and I were talking about doing, bet it on Onyx first. Bet it on, if they're the same, I would say bet it on DK first, Greg, because they're going to move faster. But
True.
Yeah. Although I'll be honest with you, I'll probably do the opposite only because right now I can get more down on Onyx.
And then for this particular one, you just want to bet the Nasreed one first because it's minus 120, whereas it's minus 135 on DraftKings. So I don't know what our true odds are, but I assume the Nasreed one isn't even plus EV on DK right now.
Yeah. Well, it's 135, so it's break even.
Okay.
We could go Bogdanovich here over 1.5 threes against Utah. But the question there again with Utah, or with this game, yeah, I mean, actually, I don't mind that at all, especially if Utah ends up, not playing guys the full allotment of minutes or something.
Yeah, we could add Bogdanovich to it, and that would give us a 3-leg parlay plus 483 odds. All right, that looks solid.
You want to stick with 3?
Yeah, let's stick with 3 for this one.
Okay. Gets us to plus 483. Look at where some of the other books are. And guys, it's Nasreed under 7.5 boards. Klay Thompson under 3.5 threes. Bogdanovich over 1.5 threes.
19% chance to win, 11% EV. Yeah, it looks like a good parlay. And if you guys haven't signed up at Onyx Odds, go into it. This looks like it's going to be a good place to bet, and it's available everywhere.
Dude, check out, because Fliff, is it fair to say they patched things recently?
Yeah, patch is one way to do it. They used to have broken odds that were terribly soft, and now that's not the case anymore. I don't know what they changed to, but it's a lot hard. It used to be there was just a ton of readily available, easily beatable lines on Fliff. Still some for sure, but not as strong as it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get Ben into the chat, Caleb.
I'll check my portfolios too, because Lofty can't, if I'm not mistaken, you can't bet college from where
No,
you
I
are.
can't bet college props in PA, unfortunately.
Okay.
So yeah, go for that. But guys, like I was saying, talking about these Fliff patches, different. I mean, it's got to just be a different odds provider, Greg, right? It's got to be.
Yeah. Usually, though, these social sports books like Onyx, they just copy one of the more
Yes.
used rec books. But that was what I was trying to figure out. I don't know exactly what it is that Fliff uses now.
Me neither, because you would see Fliff with the same odds. Either way, look at this plus 483 compared to Fliff, another social sports book at plus 357. So big difference there. 11% EV. There's the bet. That looks good. Nasreed under 7.5 boards. I wonder, is that still on? Is it still up there? I'm gonna check right now. Because I got, like I said, I got this Nasreed in earlier at 7.5. So FanDuel moved it back to 7.5, but it's at minus 146. And that, for all I know, that's the alt line as well. But
FanDuel probably moved it when Gobert was downgraded to questionable.
There you go. Yep. But even if you bet it earlier, you're still getting it good right there.
It looks like we don't have anything plus EV for college basketball. I'm checking my portfolios. So the reason it would show up in my portfolios but wouldn't show up in Lofty's is because we have geolocations within our tools. So since in Lofty State, it doesn't have college sports betting, we don't want somebody who lives in PA to log into OddsShopper and just like, here's 10 college basketball bets. Because then it's a hassle. You can't actually use or bet any of those lines. But yeah, even where I'm available, where I have college basketball betting available, there's no props that are showing up at the moment.
Oh, here we go. Greg, guess what? We can make the points. We can make the same game parlay for points and take the boost on DraftKings.
Let's do it.
I like the idea of taking this market and under because, as you pointed out, I think it was a great call out. The guy hasn't played a second leg of a back-to-back since November. So, I mean, why not? Right? Like if he is playing the second of a back-to-back and he hasn't been, I'm not chasing overs there. I'll tell you that much. And we're getting a positive EV bet on this anyway for marketing. OS rating of 3, under 19.5 points. We got the true odds at minus 111. We're grabbing it at minus 105. So let's do that. And remember, guys, these parlays are going to hit less often than we'd like. But that's every parlay. These are going to hit, though, more often than the odds that we're giving. That's why that we're given by the books. That's why they're plus EV.
And then Najee Marshall.
Yeah, man. I'm going to refresh one time just in case there's a better one. Never want to do you guys dirty here in case something else good popped up. Now, here we go. Look at the odds on Penny compared to DraftKings here.
And then plus, because I just plugged it into my phone, we're also getting, because I'm betting at the same time here, we're also getting the boost here. All right, so apparently $10 is above what my maximum is allowed, but I was able to bet $5.99 on our with the boost. It ended up coming out to plus 703.
That's not bad.
It's very good.
So from plus 586 to plus 703.
Yep.
All right, 3 unders, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's in between 11 and 12% EV with the boost there.
We'll take it. Do all of you guys, let me know in chat, do all of you guys have the 10 max as well? Or do you have a higher max on the bet? Let me know. Like we did yesterday.
I also think it's funny that it says $10 max bet, but then I try to put in $10. Like, well, this is above your limit. We don't allow you to bet $10.
You know what's even more nauseating is when I get a push notification telling me that there's a promo available.
Yeah,
like they're telling me to bet it.
Run. Here's a promo available.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's nuts. But hey, as who was it earlier that said that the unders are a sweat? Yeah, it was Kiefer Easterlin. They are, but once you realize why they're profitable and why our tools give you more unders than overs, this is not to say we don't have overs on the board. I have a good amount of them today. It's just they've been more profitable, and everything we have in our tools is back tested, so we know what's more profitable. It's not like we're just flying by the seat of our pants. Lucas said 10 was my max, but limited to $5. Yeah, that's the the pitfalls of being profitable, Lucas. I know you've been a portfolio EV user for a while. The Juice MGM is 25 max. What are those pre-built, Juice, or can you build them yourself and get a boost? That's what I want to know.
I'm also curious for the guy who said his max was $5. Was it the exact same number as me, $5.99?
You're curious with what?
The guy who said the max bet was $5. I want to know if it was exactly $5.
No, he said 514. Lucas said 514. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Juice said, I love unders. A lot of ways to get there. Ask Scary Terry and Porter. No, just ask Greg.
Yeah. They texted me. Let me know ahead of time.
Mojo, I'm completely new to this. Still trying to make the best and smartest possible move. Stick with us, man. Even if you're just watching the show, even if you're just watching the show, we're trying, help teach as well instead of just, giving out random stuff. I think it's helpful, but yeah, this looks good. And it only has to be a 3-leg. What was the boost? What's the percent boost on it, Greg?
20%, I believe is the number. 20% parlay boost. Has to be a 3-leg or more parlay. The odds have to be minus 200 or shorter. And then on top of it also, it has to be all points. Be all points.
Hey, listen, 10 to win 70 ain't bad, especially, when we've already got it as an 8% EV bet. We'll take that all day long. For sure.
I'll take the $5.99 to win $48 too, because it's something else that you and I have been talking about here, where are the limits annoying on an individual bet? Yeah, for sure. But I don't know how many bets you placed yesterday, but for me, it was somewhere between 150 and 200. And when you're accumulating that many bets, even if it's only on some of these $5, $6, $7 bets, it adds up if you're placing 100 plus per day.
Yeah, it adds up in a big way. There are days, and I think you would agree, right, where you can get a couple thousand down still on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's been a minute, I think, since I had that much on an individual day, but there's definitely been days.
Yeah. Landscaper Bob, my boost was 33% on the Shaq boost. Interesting. So maybe it's the boost percentages that differ, Greg.
I'm curious too, for Landscaper Bob, what was your max bet allowed on that too? Was it still $10? Was it $5? Was it $20? I'm wondering if they varied that as well.
That's a good question. Are there any FanDuel parlays that we could get in?
Let's see. Pete Shepard wants to know, have either of you been completely banned from a book yet? Sort of, but I also got unbanned from BetMGM because it was a location issue. So there are books that I've been very heavily limited on, to the point where it's almost like you're being banned, where I've been limited to less than $1, but I haven't had a book just outright kick me out.
Same. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them are like $2. BetMGM is the craziest because they would only, a lot of the DraftKings, I can still get a decent amount down on sides. Like if I wanted to bet a spread on a football game, or a money line, I'm not concerned about that really with like FanDuel or DraftKings and a lot of these books. But like BetMGM, I tried to bet a side on football and it was $3. So that's insane. Fanatics, when they went from PointsBet, I got an email before they even opened their doors that essentially said, "Listen, like we don't want you here." You know, I got an email that said, like, "Just so you know, if you're coming over, don't." Right, but aside from that, no, I've never had it like where I try and log into my account but it's the same thing. It's the same. Like they know you're just gonna leave, but like you said, you can still get a lot of volume down on these big slates. Even
Yeah.
dude, even on today's slate, I have a good $5,000-6,000 in volume down, and I'm not complaining about that at all. Probably more than you because my limits are higher on FanDuel.
Yeah, and FanDuel, they still allow, and like Lofty said before too, that he's found some markets that maybe for the year we've either been neutral on or haven't been beating, but he's found ways that you could set up your portfolio to where you find that market to be more beatable. So yeah, especially on FanDuel, I don't think FanDuel's a book that even if they have limits, I don't think it's going to be a book that is restricted in like a Bet River sort of way where it's like
Agreed.
$2 or whatever.
Agreed. Yep. Anthony Edwards under 30.5 points here on Onyx and on DraftKings minus 125. Max Christie. Greg and I always try and throw these out for you guys while we can snipe them. And remember, we're grinding small edges here. The more bets you get in, the better off you are. Just keep in mind though, like this is why we have the bankroll manager. This will tell you like the better bets you get more money on. And if you're not limited, if you're on books where your limits aren't as strict, try and follow these guidelines. You don't want to be putting the same amount of money on something as a much better bet. Look at this Utah bet that just popped up, Greg. Isaiah Collier. What do you make of this?
I was gonna say I just put in the Christie bet too.
Okay, yeah, I bet that earlier.
Isaiah Collier for under 11.5 points. Minus 115. I'd be curious to look at the Pinnacle line movement to see how much they've adjusted for Clarkson being out.
Okay. Good call. Let's do it.
Because he's the clear no Sexton, no Clarkson. Isaiah Collier immediately is the guy who stands out as benefiting the most. And I would be concerned that Pinnacle has just not moved that line yet. So this shows up as plus EV, but it's really just because of a stale line on Pinnacle.
Why is Penny not showing up for me on here?
Yeah, I think it might be because they haven't moved their line yet. So other books moved it to 11.5 and they still have it at 10.5.
Got it. So would you stay away from that?
For now, yeah. I would wait until Pinnacle moves the line to see how that adjusts some of the other sharp books.
What about this Norman Powell here?
No issues with that at all.
Yeah. I don't know if you feel the same way, but a lot of times if I find an island bet, and by that I mean, granted, like DraftKings and Onyx, as we've talked about, that Onyx doesn't have it yet, but like that's still an island bet to me. Same thing would be, Bet River, Sugar House, Unibet, because they're all going to have the same odds. But like if you have an instance where FanDuel is showing up as plus, or like BetMGM is plus EV, and every other book, there it is. They followed suit. And every other book is negative, and they're just far off on an island from every other book. That typically stands out to me as a spot where, like, no matter what, I'm betting it.
Yeah.
Unless you think that they're a sharp book and the first mover. But in the case of like DraftKings and MGM, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I'm betting the Norman Powell one right now. I'm also adding it to my thread for the day because that one looks pretty solid. We've got Norman Powell at under 3.5 threes, minus 140. And then, yeah, you look at FanDuel's got it at minus 164. Pinnacle's got it at minus 166. So that line looks solid.
Hey, Josh Engelman, what's up, brother?
Happy
Is today
50th.
Josh's birthday?
Yeah, it was Josh's 50th birthday yesterday. Shout out, Josh.
Oh, yesterday. Happy birthday, brother. No, in all seriousness, he's 40, right?
Oh, I've been telling everybody to reach out to him to say happy 50th birthday.
All right, but hold on. Drop the bit. Is he 40?
Yeah, Josh is actually 40. There was, I can't remember who it was. There was somebody I think it was Emerson Lotzi, if you've seen him from DraftKings, where he had a birthday, and I got everybody to reach out. Like he was getting hundreds of messages of people telling him like happy 45th birthday or something when he was much younger than that, whatever the number was. So I think Josh has his DMs closed, so I can't quite get the same thing to pick up steam. But yeah, a big 40 for Josh yesterday.
Yeah, man. All right, so we built the DraftKings parlay. That one looks good too. I'm very excited, Greg, that we had the bets on the board, the plus EV spots, all points in order to be able to get one in. That makes this fun.
They're trying to help us out.
They are.
As
they
the
are.
books
Now
do.
we gotta win it. There was one other I figured if we wanted to take a look at like BetMGM here, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah, let's pull up BetMGM. I saw at least briefly when I was placing bets, there was a Draymond Green one that was showing up towards the top of Portfolio EV, but it might have been one that disappeared really quickly.
Do me a favor. I'm having an issue on my side. Can you do you have yours up? Can you share your screen and just switch out with me real quick?
I am running into the same issue, so I cannot.
Okay. I lost power at 3 a.m. and just like everything went out. So I wasn't sure if it was on my end potentially.
It is not. So yeah, looks like we are
back.
down for the moment.
We're back.
We're back. Never mind. We're back.
Yeah. All right. So then let me ask you, this Walker Kessler one, does this worry you a little bit because you could see some starters not playing and then a younger Walker Kessler playing? I just want to know exactly where you're at before we get into building this out, because right now we have some bangers on the board for BetMGM.
Yeah. So for Walker Kessler, I mean, he's also been sitting in back-to-backs as of late. So considering he's not on the injury report, Collins isn't on the injury report, Markkanen isn't on the injury report, and they've already ruled out other guys. I think if Kessler plays, Markkanen and Collins play. If Markkanen and Collins sit, then I think they sit Kessler as well.
All right. So then where are you at on this? What do you want to do with it?
I'm good with the under. Let's include it in what we're building.
Let's do it. I mean, it just looks so good. Actually, one thing before we do this, you guys will, at the end of the day, you're going to appreciate me doing this stuff. Okay. Because getting as much information as possible is super helpful. As long as this will load for me, that's the biggest thing. If it doesn't load, there's no information to give. I just wanted to see like if this was a far off bet on all of the other books. We seem to be running into some issues, Greg.
That would seem to be the problem. Yeah, a little slow to load right now.
Oh, hold on. Get this FanDuel bet in. Slow to load, but still loading. So get that in. Can everybody see that on the screen?
We've got Olivier Maxence Prosper, who is the now the Dallas Mavericks, they had a week ago, all of their best players other than Kyrie Irving were centers, and now they don't have any centers left. So let me see, was there an injury report update here? No. All right. Yeah. So Olivier Maxence Prosper under 6.5 rebounds. We got it -106 on FanDuel. And yeah, every other book has it at -110 or worse. That looks like a pretty solid one.
Penny at 136. Yeah. Okay. 4 OS rating looks good to me. So grab that, guys. Did we bet this Markkanen under rebounds yet?
No, we bet Markkanen points, not rebounds.
All right. Well, Markkanen under rebounds is up there as well. 5.4% HROI on that one, which is very, very nice. Remember, these are compounding returns. This isn't none of that, park it in the SPY. This is, day over day. All right. This is the one I wanted to look at, Greg. Mm-hmm. This Walker Kessler -140. Yeah. All right. So FanDuel's at 10. Look at that. FanDuel's 10.5 -120.
Yeah. All the other books either have it juiced more heavily at 11.5 or they've moved it to 10.5.
And yeah, I mean, Penny's at minus 182 under 11.5. So yeah, we got to build out a parlay for Bet MGM. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are over there. And for anyone that jumped in late, Greg mentioned it. I mentioned it. We have a new book on Portfolio EV, Onyx Odds. It's a social sports book, but get real cash down. You know, you can deposit on there. I did it this morning. I had to deposit twice, but you can do it. And it's the exact same odds as DraftKings. So anything we talk about for DraftKings, same for Onyx, you know, reversible. All right, let's go. Or interchangeable, I should say. Walker Kessler under 11.5 boards. Anything on the anything here that stands out to you just as, look, every team today's on the second of a back-to-back because we had 30 teams play yesterday. We go into the All-Star break tomorrow. Anything stand out to you specifically?
Not related to that. One thing just in general, PRA performs really well on BetMGM. So that Isaiah Joe one, which already projects pretty well, is definitely one that I want to include in this.
All right, let's go. So Kessler and Joe. Kessler,
by the way, DeJuice, because he's saying under 11.5 points is minus 130. We're looking at rebounds, which is minus 140. So this is rebounds that we have in there, not points.
For Walker Kessler. Very good bet right now. Let's build this quick before it moves, as a matter of fact. I mean, do you remember what the HROI is for rebounds on MGM?
1.7%.
Okay. What about threes?
Threes is very high. We should include threes.
Wait, do you remember 1.7 off the top of your head?
Yes.
Nice.
If that's not what it is today, it's what it was yesterday.
Yeah, good stuff. I do the same thing with FanDuel. We could, I think we just stick as a 3-leg here because I don't want to go all the way down to like 1OS if we got all these really good bets. Like, look at these, right?
Yeah, I would stick with those 3. That's what I usually do with my round robins. Is I'll try to group the ones that have the highest OS ratings.
All right. So Kessler under 11.5 boards, Isaiah Joe under 12.5 PRA, Klay Thompson under 3.5 threes. All of this looks good, man. Should we check the true? Look at the true odds on this Kessler. Minus 160.
Those are the best ones those are the absolute best ones to parlay.
100%. And guys, even when these don't win, because they're 3-leg parlays with plus 500, 5-1 odds, just know that you're betting smart bets. Like that's all that over time, this is profitable. Plus 502, 12, almost 13% EV on this, 18% X win. To me, that looks damn good, Greg.
Let's do it. Let's lock it in.
All right.
DeJuice, I have it pulled up right now. It's minus 140.
You pulled it up on the app itself?
Yeah.
I wanted to show you guys something. You asked me to pull the results tool up. I figured I'd show people something real quick. Someone like yourself that's been knee deep in this stuff as long as I have, I think you'll appreciate this. But I made a specific FanDuel assist portfolio, Greg.
Okay.
Now check this out, right? So 2.5%. Oh, wait, no, that's last year. Look at this. Current season, preview results, minus 120. So I have this up here for a reason because it's still positive, and I have this mentally. So I'll know that if it's a minus 115 or minus 120, I'm going to bet a little bit less. And the longer the odds are, I'm going to bet more, right? Also, I don't know why, but FanDuel, I'm limited heavier on 3-pointers than I am on other markets. So it doesn't really matter what I do. I'm not going to be able to get the recommended bet down anyway, right? So check this out. Minus 120, minimum odds for all the bets we've tracked. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. This is assists, my fault. That's crazy, though. I actually found an assist one. I meant to do 3-pointers.
Okay.
I guess I did find a way to turn them positive.
Kind of. It's 97 bets though.
I have no intention of betting them, but I threw it in there because if I get one that pops in a massive way, I might consider it. All right, 3-pointers. So where's these my threes? Yeah. So FanDuel threes 2.9% at minus 120. Watch what happens when I move this to even money. as your minimum odds. So that means that like at even money minimum odds, if it's a minus 110, you're not getting it to show up. So even money minimum odds.
Change the min OS rating.
Oh, this was supposed to be 1. My fault.
Just because the sample sizes are really small.
No. I meant to have it at 1.
Okay.
It got messed up along the way. I think when I was doing the assist one, I messed it up. 3% actual ROI at even money. I think last time I looked, yep, see, you're still slightly positive at minus 120. But when I move it to minus 130, you're already at minus 2.1%. So these are the type of things, if you guys decide that you're going to jump in, first week's always free. Do it after the All-Star break, obviously. Links in the description. If you decide, make sure to play around with some of these range controls. Also, like time until event. Personally, my better results, Greg, have been earlier in the morning than real close to lock, because I think the breaking news is impactful there.
Which is always going to make sense too. Just even outside of the news aspect, the earliest lines before they get hit, they're just going to be the softest, because people are going to bet off lines and then they adjust and they get to be more accurate. So in general, you're always going to find in betting, the times that lines are the easiest to beat are when they're new. And that even applies to when the lines move in a significant way after some sort of injury, because still they're not going to be efficient. They end up becoming more efficient over time. So the newer, the better.
Yep. By the way, I just did 2, 3, and 4 for the OS rating minimum, and it increases with all of these. So yeah, really interesting stuff. If you guys ever wanted to do it, go into the EV results tool and check it out that way. Let me save these changes. Anyway, should we find a couple more before we get out of here?
We could do that. See what's on the board that we haven't talked about yet.
Looks like a bunch just popped up.
Yeah, a lot more Utah stuff. A lot of Utah stuff.
Concerning?
Maybe a little.
Here's a Keon Ellis. That's gone. No, there it is. PRA. There's an Amir Coffee too, under 3s. That's very, very profitable on DraftKings.
There's a really good Tyler Hero bet that just popped up on BetMGM as well. Tyler Hero over 6.5 assists at plus 110.
Oh yeah, overs. There we go. Wow. That's massive value.
Yeah, I'm going to find something to parlay that with. Oh, the Isaiah Joe one.
Tyler Hero over 6.5 dimes. And you pointed this out, 9.1% historical ROI. 9.1% on assists on BetMGM. That's incredible.
Yeah, the ones I like to bet the most on BetMGM are assists and PRA. I mean, like, I take anything because they're all positive HRY, but in general, the strongest ones are the assists and PRA.
Look at this. Look, can you see this? Can you see this movement? What happened here? That's DraftKings, FanDuel, Pinnacle, and BetMGM. All of this, DraftKings, FanDuel, Pinnacle, they all bottomed out. And then BetMGM went nuts.
Yeah, so I know why it moved, because the Heat ruled out a bunch of guys this afternoon. But then for whatever reason, we've got this goofy ass line that BetMGM just put up for no reason at all. Because Terry Rozier, Andrew Wiggins both got ruled out, and Bam Adebayo is questionable. So like that's what caused some line movement here. But then for BetMGM just to be like, let's put it back to the normal line, because this is the line they initially had, and I guess
I know, right? Yeah, right. Right. I don't get that one. That's a good one right there. Penny minus 136. We have the true odds at minus 111. Oof. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm adding that one to my thread right now too. I mean, some of these too, like you wouldn't even need to look at the projections to know it's a good bet. Like with the Tyler Hero one, it's so far off market from every other line.
Exactly. And fortunately enough, it already has a massive HROI to begin with. So you're double dipping there. Seeing if we had any FanDuel 3-pointers that meet our criteria.
There was a Hero one. What was the line though?
-113. But again, in a spot like this is to me a very fringe bet.
Yeah, it only is the 1 OS rating.
Yeah. That's a fringe bet to me. Maybe you cut your bet size in half or something there. Was there something else you wanted to see on the results tool before we go?
No, nothing else for today. We weren't sure if we were going to find bets. We ended up finding a bunch of bets.
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad for a 5-game slate. That's why, guys, turn the notifications on. Download the OddsShopper app for PortfolioEV if you haven't done it already. Turn notifications on. I have mine set at every 5 minutes. And make sure you snipe them whenever you can. That's what you do, right? Get in as many as you can, as often as possible, and get on as many books. That's why we talked about this Onyx. Like, for me, anytime, and I know you're the same way, anytime a new opportunity for a new book, even if it's a social book, pops up, I'm jumping on.
Take advantage of it. There's no reason not to.
Yeah. And get as many bets down a day as possible. Get as many down a day as possible. That's all it comes down to. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out. Greg, we'll be back. I love doing this so much. I hate taking time off from it. But here's the silver lining. When we return, we're not just going to be back with basketball. We're going to be back with hockey. So
hockey and then baseball before too long as well. We're only 6 weeks out from the start of baseball. I'm working on some baseball stuff too that I was messaging Lofty about earlier, which we're going to be able to use on this show as well. So baseball's not all that far off.
Yeah, man. All right, let's do it. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. If you're an Eagles fan and you're going to the parade, enjoy it. I will be there as well. Yeah. And
will
let's
Jason
make some
Kelce
money.
be welcome?
What's that?
Will Jason Kelce be welcome there?
Yeah, man. All that shit's hyped up. No one really cares about that. You know, I'm telling you, it's not what you think. But yeah, let's make some money. We'll see you back here for the next one. Peace.
Later, guys.